Hello? Anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
We're going back to back. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Freddie Rivas, and who are you, sir?
Your producer, Matt Duncan. Hello, everyone.
Welcome to our show. We're a hardcore fan podcast, but we know a lot, so our opinions are pretty legit, I think. We got some amazing guests today, but before we get to the guests, Matt, if you're in Toronto and it's ridiculously cold temperatures and your head is cold, what might you do?
Well, the only thing that you can buy for that is a Confederacy of Dunks toque. And contact Freddie or me, and we will set that up for you. That's
right. And we got the Shopify all set up.
We do. If you noticed, I specifically didn't mention Shopify because we've had such a time with it. But yes, we do have a Shopify, and we're almost there. We're almost there.
PayPal, totally different issue.
Yeah,
that's a problem. We'll figure out PayPal by next week. That's a promise.
Yeah.
But get your toques. If you want to support this podcast, Matt, how is one to do that? Or should they just shout it from the streets or what?
Well, that's the first thing you should do. That's how you should start every morning. But we appreciate some reviews and likes on iTunes and Spotify. I don't think you can view on Spotify, but just subscribe there. It's an easy way to listen to the pod.
Sure.
And we're even on YouTube. We're trying to get those YouTube bucks, so we can quit our jobs. So, I think we get about 4 or 5 listens on YouTube's per episode. So
we're coming for you.
How much does this pay?
Oh, I don't feel
I think it's like $5 a listen.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, the YouTube's just gone.
Psy is loaded.
Yeah, Psy did well that one year.
Yeah, no, Psy definitely did well that year. Yeah,
you guys like Psy references?
yeah.
Never too old for a Psy reference.
The Psy reference is the old Desposito reference.
Ooh, nice.
How's that?
I like it.
Sorry, I felt like I said that like I was trying to be mean, and I was
it landed.
Okay, good.
You're probably giving me too much credit for it.
Well, okay. You can already hear one of the guests, so we should get to him right away. But
get to him.
I think before we hop into it, Matt, if people want to listen to us, where are they going to listen to us?
Didn't I just say? Are you trying to throw me to Patreon?
I was going to in the end, but I really wanted you to say FM player, man.
Oh, that's right.
God damn.
Yeah. Well, I'm always on the fence about that one. I don't know what they stand for, but yeah, if you want to listen there for sure, Player FM. And we do have a Patreon. So if you feel like subscribing, supporting us, building us up, you can go to patreon.com/dunkspodcast.
There we go. Nailed it.
I got to say, listening to all this has really, really reestablished in my brain why people usually do plugs at the end of an episode.
No. It's really good to start with this, I think.
Yeah. Listening to you guys bumble through, go to our Patreon, go to our Shopify, and then we've almost figured out Shopify. We're nowhere close to figuring out PayPal.
I mean, you really got me on the PayPal thing because that is a crisis. How just call it for what it is, right, Matt?
Yeah.
PayPal is super confusing. I'm having a tough time.
Is someone operating your telephone for you right now?
Honestly, I have a tough time getting through the basic tasks of life. But
I also love that you guys plugged your Patreon, but you were like, most people go to the Patreon where you can join our Discord server or have bonus episodes, or you guys are just go to the Patreon and just give us money, no additional content.
Hey, we have like hot sauce. There's a whole bunch of stuff,
there's
right?
stuff. Yeah, we've got Freddy's hot sauce. We've got exclusive Freddy on the Fly episodes that are only for Patreon.
That's just what Freddie is just running in a snowstorm recording.
Well, he's
We're working up to that. Yeah.
We're trying to get him from not just pacing in his room while I call him, but we're hoping to breach.
No, this is good. Matt, Will's calling us out.
Yeah.
He's the reason we're actually on the same day.
He's your mentor, and now I feel like he's mine too.
Okay,
I've never heard anything said with less confidence than I have the phrase "episodes of Freddy on the Fly." Like
Flive.
it was said. Oh, Freddy live?
No, Freddy on the Flive. Like 5 plus
On the Fly.
Yeah, well, I ask him 5 questions while he's on the fly.
I love that I guessed I heard it wrong 3 different times, and the correct name was the worst of all 4 of those options.
I thought it had something to do with your zipper.
Yeah,
see, this is all
when
driving
you said Freddy
interest
on
for the
Fly,
segment.
I was like, I don't know, maybe that's like a late night shuttle when the subway shuts down. I don't know.
It's a weird pun. If you saw the image, you would see that it's based on Cronenberg's The Fly.
Oh my god!
So
it goes even further. Yeah, it does go further into that.
Everybody loves a play on words you can only read.
That's
Yes.
You only get
An
by
incredible
reading.
thing to do in an audio medium. We're like, well, if you can see the picture, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Hey, folks,
People are famous for looking at the episode art for podcasts.
and you know what? If they're still listening to this,
Can you imagine?
why don't you check out our Patreon?
Dear God.
This is fun.
Let's talk some goddamn Raptors ball. We just saw an awesome game.
Oh.
I feel like we took some critique, Matt, but let's do what we do best.
Are we going to intro the
just run
guests,
a
or are we
smooth
just going to
podcast.
bypass them?
Why don't you give me that Raptors sting?
Well, do you want to introduce the
Are you
guests,
just
or what?
Skipping our intro.
I
now?
was actually going to skip your intros by accident, but I won't.
Just
because
quickly
Honestly,
tell them who's yelling at
I respected
us.
the intro skip because we really
You did barge
we
in.
really kind of took the wind out of the sails of the intros.
You
Hold on, I have
barged
stuff
right
to
in.
plug. I'd like to plug some stuff. Aren't we getting plugged?
Not yet. Not yet. You
No,
guys wait till
not
the end.
plugs yet. Okay, you know
I'd
what?
like to plug my appearance on Confederacy of Dunks podcast.
Enough is enough. I'm introing the damn guests. Coming from LA. He doesn't live there, but he's there right now. He's on a million shows, including The Blind Spot and others.
Blind spot, yeah.
Yeah, The Blind Spot, the one and only.
You just aged 30 years.
That's right. I don't even know what I messed up, which is why I'm steaming along with the intro here. But you love him. Give it up for Ennis Esmer, baby.
Oh yeah. Airtight.
Okay.
Hi,
Ennis,
Ennis.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Ennis,
Long-time listener.
Thanks for being so patient and waiting.
Guys, I this is the first time I've been on the show since the Raptors became champions.
well,
That's
congratulations.
true.
You're a champion.
An honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Ennis, I'm not going to ask you how you're doing because
That's
we've already
fine.
been talking for 45 minutes.
That's true.
So I'm just going to bring on guest number 2. He was on the podcast last week. And before that, he wasn't on the podcast for, I think, a calendar year. That was due to scheduling errors, which you can catch up with and check out last week because, that's how basketball podcasts work. You always listen to week-old podcasts.
Yep.
He's amazing. He's hilarious. Give it up at home. Also from LA, Will Weldon.
All right, don't even bother with the music. Let's not go through with this charade.
Play yakety sax. It should be yakety sax for Will.
Wait, did you really cut his music?
Yeah, I did. No, I was in
wow.
control here.
It's no music.
Matt takes you seriously.
Yeah,
It's like there's just going to be like I almost think that Freddie is the rare podcast host who should have like the TV on while he hosts or just like something to distract 15% of his brain, because I've never heard someone overthink every single word as they come out of their mouth the way he does when he hosts this podcast.
Oh,
Very
buddy,
relatable.
I got a lot going on upstairs, you know? there's there's parts of my brain that are just kind of like a silent, boring corridor. And then there's other parts that are just like full laser tag at all times. So
I picture like a boardroom of executives who are all afraid of getting fired, nervously debating every word that comes out of your mouth.
That's honestly not that far off.
I would watch that reboot of Herman's Head for sure.
I do think though, like my next step is like doing something very active during the podcast, like
You should be on a treadmill.
or sailing in a regatta.
I'd watch that.
It'd be cool. Okay, let's talk some goddamn Raptors ball. I'm not going to be any more concise than I already was.
Did you say guard damn?
I said goddamn.
Okay.
But goddamn works.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work.
Yeah, you're right.
Why are you so agreeable about everything?
You're a sweetheart, Freddie, and don't let Statler and Waldorf over there tell you any different.
I know. Will's trying to break me down, but I know the love's there, so it's okay.
I would just like to state, by the way, that Will had an invitation to come watch the game at my house and then record the podcast together. We're in the same city, but are in different places right now, and that was not my choosing. I just want to make that clear. Will is doing something with Doe instead of hanging out with me, and so that's where his priorities lie.
Truly, the logistics of us recording the podcast in the same room were nightmarish. So I decided to save poor Matt, who has just been evicted because he's a deadbeat loser who can't afford anything.
Jesus.
I'm trying to save him the trouble.
He just got married. How could you be a loser if you got married? Losers don't get married.
Losers get married all the time. Why do you think so many people get divorced?
Are you married?
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm married, but I'm also divorced.
Oh, wait. Okay, I don't know what.
Not a loser.
I don't know. I take back what I said. I don't know what to say now.
Dear listener, I don't know how it happened, but this podcast just got sicker. If you've been listening to Ennis and Will argue about marriage, congratulations. You must love basketball. Guys, who has any thoughts on the game? Ennis, you're mad at Serge, right?
This is why I'm saying I wish. No, I'm not mad at Serge. First of all, I wanted to say, and I said all that to say this would have been an amazing game to watch next to Will Weldon, because it was like a rope-a-dope where you got to feel good, and then they just ripped the floor out from underneath us for 5 minutes and let Atlanta score like 30 points in the last half of the fourth quarter after Norm scored 15 points by himself, something crazy like that. So
12 straight, I think.
Yeah, that was incredible. He had 3 free throws and then hit 4 threes. So bonkers.
Yeah, Norm had his Clay moment.
Yeah, there was a moment where when they pulled the bench to put the starters back in because the Hawks cut it to like 5 points, 7 points at that point. Serge was like walking to his seat, but kind of directing some aggressive pointing and something. I don't know what he was saying, but he was pointing in Nurse's direction. So I was curious if anybody had the closed captioning on to hear what he said.
Like some team animosity, you mean? Like some
maybe,
anger
yeah. Chris
towards...
Boucher was like kind of doing a little Freddie Rivas, like making it all better kind of a thing, clapping and nodding and like trying to be really positive. And, you'd be pissed off too if you just turned a 21-point lead into a 5-point lead with 2 minutes left, or a minute left, or whatever it was. So it just looked at that. It's kind of good to see, though. Actually, if Serge is going to get mad, that's good. They shouldn't want to get pulled in that situation. They should be putting the game away.
Yeah, I think I'm with Serge there. Like if he's mad that he got brought back into the game and then like won the game again and then gets pulled for that last little bit, like that makes some sense to me.
Yeah, but I mean they were slipping away. Atlanta scored, as I said, like almost like I think 26 points in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean the starters were not much better though, because like the starters went in and then like immediately allowed like 2 straight John Collins dunks.
Yeah. But then Fred was there, so that's all we needed. We ran out the clock.
Yeah, it really seemed like they stopped caring completely. Yeah. Like, I was like checking in and out and like, why? But like, it seemed like every time I came back, something else that was insane had happened. And then at the end, when they were up 5, like the first 5 before Fred put it away, I was like, well, I guess I just have to watch the rest of this game in case like somebody drives like a truck filled with explosives into the arena or something.
Yeah.
I actually went back to watch the first half of the fourth quarter again because it was so satisfying. especially during Norm's run. And then, so like I prolonged it. I was as cocky as the bench was, like cheering Norm on for those threes. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, we were up 21, and then it's 15, and now it's 10, and now it's 2. The Hawks are crazy. That was really nuts. So many weird things were happening. There are all these like kind of reviews, not reviews, little out of like they were pressing us they were like full court trapping for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, I think the trap can definitely be used against teams that are good at trapping, like us in the Heat, are also fairly susceptible to trapping. Like I think we really struggled with the trap, but like this free flowing version of the NBA, like anyone can bring up the ball. It doesn't really jive with if a team is going to seriously ball pressure you. Like there was even a couple plays where Cam Reddish, this is like earlier in the game, but Cam Reddish tried to bring up the ball and Fred was just like, absolutely not. You can't dribble on me. Like I just won't allow you to dribble on me ever. And I think that, it's weird in today's NBA with like giant leads coming and going, because if I'm not mistaken, with this first Atlanta game, like when we played them earlier in the season, they made a giant 3-minute run in the last like 2 minutes of the game or whatever.
It's happening all over the league. There was a night where Zach LaVine went crazy against the Hornets and scored like whatever. They cut it from like, it was 25 and then they won the game, right? Like he hit a crazy 3 off a steal with 2 seconds left. There were 3 other games on League Pass that night where 15, 20-point leads came down to 1 bucket with like 5 seconds left. It feels like it's been happening all year. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think like, I don't know how many games have been lost like that, but I feel like even though it's frenetic and the 3-point variance is so much higher, if you do get a giant lead, it's kind of like, it kind of makes sense that you would let your guard down at some point. Like I think the Raptors let their guard down like 3 or 4 times this game. Literally. Like earlier in the first half, it's kind of like we blew them out and then we totally let them come back. Yeah. To the point where they were ahead by 8 or 9 or 10. And then we kind of just like stormed all the way back, obviously with the Norm threes. And then we gave up again. And then we kind of like re-beat them like a third time. So it's strange. It's kind of like I don't really feel like it reflects that poorly on the team.
No, it's like 3 games in 1. That's fun.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, I don't know, there wasn't really, even though it did get hairy and it did get pretty close, there wasn't any question of who was the better team. If Atlanta had pulled off the win, it would be very disappointing, but the fact that they didn't is kind of like, I don't care.
And people there's a lot of complaining about like obviously 3-pointers in the state of the game in general, but I don't see how it's bad for games that are blowouts to suddenly become close. Like this, obviously, you're right. If we had lost, it would have been like, well, that was annoying that happened. But the fact that has the potential to happen, against one of the teams with one of the worst records in the conference versus one of the top 5-6 teams in the conference, that's good for basketball as far as I'm concerned. You got to come back in and tune in again, like.
One of the like great satisfying things of seeing it live as well is like watching people leave during a game they are sure is over and then having everything turn around super weird in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's incredible.
One of my favorite things, like I think Miami, it was in the finals one year. I think maybe it was the San Antonio game where they came back and they had like hundreds of fans that were locked out of the arena. Like, these are people who paid for the game. Yeah. And then but they showed like hordes of people trying to get back into the arena. And there was like 3 minutes left and it was the best. I think it was the Ray Allen game.
Is that right?
I think
so. Like it happened last year too. There was something where it's like, there's no out and in policy, so they all left the game thinking they were going to lose, and then I saw what that happened with the Pacers too. Anyway, this is great detail for sure.
Yeah, this is good stuff. So how about I'll just kind of throw a random question here. Like, Will, where are you at with kind of like we talked about this a little bit last week, but with the team fully healthy, do you think that there's still a lot of kind of like figuring out to do? Have they reached their ceiling at points in this season, or is it kind of like we haven't even seen what this team's capable of when they're fully clicking?
I don't know. I think the only thing that's kind of left to see is like, can they finally start beating some over 500 teams with like the full team healthy? Because I think somebody just posted today that they're number 2 after Milwaukee in win percentage against teams below 500. They've lost something like 2 or 3 games and won like, I don't know, whatever insane number of them. So it's like, if they keep up this pace of just like not beating the like very good and above teams, then it, once the playoffs roll around, I know what I'm going to be expecting. And like, if they go out in either the first or second round, I'll be like, yeah, that's like kind of on par with what I figured it was going to have. It was like the one year, the year we get swept by the Wizards in the first round. It was like, they played so bad. Like the Raptors played so badly after the All-Star break. And in particular, like the last 6 weeks of this season, that no other outcome from that made any sense.
So this is why I still hate Lou Williams.
Yeah, this is like the year. This is like it's like the second half of the season, if they still healthy, it'll give us like I think a pretty good forecast of what's going to happen in the playoffs. Because we're like, over the last like 6 seasons, the Raptors have been one of, if not the best team in the league at beating teams who are not as good as them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think over the last 3 years, the Raptors have the single most wins in the NBA. So they've just been the best team, like straight up.
Including the playoffs.
That was in the regular season because we basically were marginally better than G State. This was last year, and I'm sure I'm sure Milwaukee is kind of like, really catching up there with the way that they're crushing the regular season. But yeah, where are you at, Ennis, with this team? Overall, like, are we anywhere? Have you seen a ceiling? Have you seen any defensive ceilings or offensive ceilings? Like,
well, I'll tell you what it is. I think like referencing, it's crazy to think about how long ago that Lou Will for sweep against Washington was. Like, in general, philosophically, and even just like fundamentally as a person, I feel like I've changed entirely for the better since we won the championship. So these things, like, up until the Bucks series, every game for me that was like a high stakes game felt like we needed to win to prove that we could win. Like the organization, the city, it was all like clamoring for respect. You know what I mean? And there were countless. Last year was the first year we really started to do it, where we beat everybody that we could have lost to in past years. We beat Golden State without Kawhi. We won all these huge games that nobody expected. That we could have won, but that historically we hadn't won. So after seeing that happen, I realized that we lost some big games against teams that are, have better records than us or comparable records to us, like Houston and Milwaukee and
Miami, Boston.
Boston.
Yeah, pretty much everybody.
If you had flipped those Boston games, if we had won on Christmas and lost 2 days later, you know what I mean? Like, that was bad timing for us to lose that game. But I'm not as worried. I don't think we can't anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this team. I don't see this and go, oh, we can't beat Milwaukee. We can't set up a game plan to go at the Clippers and win. Right. So that's just not. I'm just more relaxed about it. So, like, again, if we had lost to the Hawks today, that would have sucked. But at no point am I going, oh no, there's a piece that doesn't fit here and we have to fix it. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't feel like there's a glaring, to dovetail into like potential trade talks. Like, people are talking about upgrading at the Norm Powell position. I don't want to hear that from anybody. Quite frankly, I don't want to hear any more. We're not going to re-sign Norm talk.
How do you upgrade from like Norm, Clay, Thompson, Powell?
Yeah, exactly. Norman, Clay, Thompson, Powell. If he's turning into this like Jamal Crawford type, like, imagine this guy as a 6-man for the next 3-4 years, like doing this. If he's capable of doing this and becoming a better defender and going on heaters where he scores 15 points in 3 minutes, like, so watching all those pieces where. I think this is the deepest we've ever had a team, quite frankly, like from 1 to 12. And maybe that's a bold take, but like there's nobody that clearly can't step up so far, as proven. Davis, Rondé, Boucher, even Matt Thomas in limited play. McCaw has been, I guess some people have a problem with him getting a lot of minutes, but he's been a pretty impressive piece when he's had time and finally been healthy enough to take advantage.
So here's kind of where I'm at. I'm thinking that this team is a lot like the 59-win team that got swept to Cleveland, except instead of being incredible at offense, they're incredible at defense.
Yep.
And they have a few players that are one-dimensional on like they're amazing defenders and they're like not so great on offense, like McCaw, like Rondé, like, Boucher, depending on what you think of Boucher.
Yeah. McCaw is like a league of his own in terms of being like absolutely terrible on offense. Like he doesn't even shoot anymore.
Did you see that pass to Davis today though?
No. But I mean,
my God.
it's like
he threw like a no look running into the stanchion back behind his back pass, and Davis dunked it.
He is like a point guard, so you do kind of need him to shoot the ball once in a while.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a point guard who's averaging 6 points on 33% from three, which is kind of rough. But yeah, I mean, I think he is 6'7", and I know that the commentators like say that a lot, like McCaw 6'7", which is always like, okay, take it easy, guys. But
he's like our 10th guy.
Well, exactly, and I think that like fans want to consolidate our depth, but it's a patience game because it's not really like you can be like I'll take we'll give you McCaw for someone who's just a bit better than McCaw, and then we'll give you Powell for someone who's just a bit better than that. It's kind of like I think the fans are going to need to have some patience this year, and I feel like we might have a long but like ugly looking playoff run without any kind of without a Siakam, Lowry, Kawhi finishing tandem. We're just not going to have that this year in the playoffs. But I do think we're going to have 6-minute stretches where, like, say, Philly or Boston can't score on us.
See, I think the fact that, to refer to 2019, I think this roster is better than the roster with DeMar on it from 2 years ago, like flat out. And I think the problem on that team was a little too much depth when you had like Wright and Miles, and they corrected that, I think, with the Gasol trade. Like our top seven are still
and the Kawhi trade.
Of course the Kawhi trade too, but like our top seven are clear as day. You know what I mean? When you go down to 8, 9, 10, you look at like the Celtics when Kyrie went out and all those guys had to step up. I look at it like that. Like we have a core 7 guys, and then the other guys might be pressed into action if someone's having an off night or somebody's hurt or has to miss a couple of games or whatever. But it's not like we don't have a 7-player Swiss Army knife. Like, we've talked about the Raptors being like a Swiss Army knife for years. This is the year where I feel like there's enough definition and variety in the roles. Like, people are talking about the Sixers and how big they are. I was listening to Will Liu talking about when we went big, and OG was at the 2 and we started Serge and Gasol. Like, come at the Raptors, Sixers with that lineup. If we can go big and then we can go small and fast, and like the flexibility, and not like, be okay, McCaw can play in the small lineups. Like, we have a top 7 that I think is stronger than we've ever had, aside from last year.
Yeah, no, I think it's just kind of like about role definition and continuity, and who's going to get that look at what time, sort of thing. Let's jump to trade talk, actually. So right. I mean, obviously there's a lot of trade talk going on, but yeah, Will, I mean, I'm sure we talked about this a little bit last week, but is there anything you're kind of thinking trade wise for the Raptors?
Oh, well, I was going to say, you sent one of the a little glimpse behind how the sausage is made. You sent us what we were going to be talking about earlier this morning. Yeah. And one of the topics was, what's your favorite trade? And like gun to my head, I could not name one trade that's happened so far this year.
But that's why I also said I can list
I didn't know if you
before I asked the question, because the trades are pretty minor.
I thought you included that maybe as like a joke, like it was going to be like a joke topip.
The Allen Crabbe trade. I couldn't tell you what team.
Well, Will, you're spoiling it. It is a bit of a joke topic, okay? You got to trust me, man. When I list off the names that have been traded, we're all going to have a laugh, I swear.
All right.
Okay, great.
It's pretty obscure people. Like,
look, you know what I'm doing? I'm building anticipation for the moment later.
You're killing all my momentum.
You are really good at that, Will.
Will is
let me bring up the message. I'll go through all the topics.
Don't bring up the message.
Can I just say I'm a little disappointed that Will hasn't directly contradicted or challenged me on anything I've said so far, except for the dough thing, which I had him dead to rights on. I'm finding that a little bit disappointing.
I didn't. I mean, the dough thing, I didn't contradict you because it's true. But bread dough is notoriously difficult. I mean, the only thing so far is it's like, I think McCaw. I think McCaw is worse than you do.
Yeah.
And I think Nick Nurse. We all had the glorious season last year, and now it's like like very online fans finally have their thing to like always be mad about Nick Nurse. Because like as soon as a game starts to look like it might turn around against the Raptors, so many fans start complaining about McCaw and how Nurse won't stop playing McCaw. And it really reminds me of like how mad everyone got that Casey would not close games with Valanciunas.
Oh my God, Will!
Or
you nailed
Alan Anderson.
Was Alan Anderson another guy? Like
that was a Casey guy for sure.
Wouldn't stop playing.
I was not as obsessed with not as like Raptors online focus back then. There also, oh God, who was the other guy? I think he went to Atlanta, or no, we traded for him from Atlanta, not Lou Williams, but he was
Bebe?
No, he was a shooting guard. I'm pretty sure we traded for him. Who'd you say, Freddie?
John Salmons? Bebe?
Yeah, Salmons. Yeah. He was another guy who I feel like would play and people would start like frothing at the mouth with like crazy naked rage.
And then there was the whole James Johnson thing where people were mad that he didn't play.
Yeah, James Johnson. I mean, it is like not only winning a championship, but also the fact that the Raptors now have like, what, three good to great wing players. Like the audacity of any fan to complain about anything this season other than like whatever. Like I'll get frustrated game to game, but like within an hour after the game ends, I'm like, I don't like it, like what you were saying earlier about like how things kind of felt like every big game that came up felt weirdly like a referendum on the city of Toronto.
Yeah.
In my brain, it was a referendum on me, myself. Like if the Raptors lost, they lost because I'm a loser and they're losers and we deserve each other because we both suck and will never rise to the occasion. And it's like, so there's the greater thing, but now it's also like, how many Joey Grahams and James Johnsons and like all these like 2-3 guys who we would take 13 or 14 and be like, this is Sonny Weems. Like it was like, finally, we're going to have the guy who can play some defense and hit some threes. And he's like athletic and he can cut. And they never, Jamario Moon, like those guys never panned out. And now we have like 3 different guys like that panning out. It is just like look, if I am in the hospital in a coma with severe brain trauma, and this is just like the last gasps of my brain before it completely dies, like that chemical your brain pumps that like makes you feel good right before you die, then it would make 100% sense to me because it just feels like so many things that were so frustrating to me for so long have like finally turned around with this team.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing like it. When was the last time you watched something Nurse did in a game and went like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
You know, but it's like people will be like, anymore. People will be like, "Why is Nurse playing Lowry 40 minutes a game?" And it's like, well, because 6 guys are healthy. Like,
yeah, right.
And I think the last, what is it? I mean, we just played 3 games in 4 nights, but I don't think any of the starters hit 30 minutes in any of those 3 games.
Yeah, I saw that graphic that the last 3 games, Lowry, Fred, and Siakam, all of whom are like among the league leaders in minutes played, all played like 28 or less on average, which is amazing. Yeah, so he's actually finally starting to do that.
Will, to your point kind of about, Casey having his kind of like, like bugaboos where it was like fans were on him about JV or for, letting Lou Williams take so many like buzzer beater shots. I think people are kind of like looking for that in Nurse, if that makes any sense. People are looking for what's going to start developing. It's like, wait, where does this guy does he have blind spots? Is he a perfect coach? You know what I mean? Is he just like this masterful like motivator? But
I mean, when people compare Toronto to New York, I'm always like, that comparison is not appropriate, except our sports fans are just as bad as their sports fans. Like we have the most crazed, broken down sports fans. And I hate the Leafs. I hate the Leafs and I don't care about baseball. So I'm kind of an outside observer, but like I know what, like, I had the Toronto Raptors blocked on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, like their official counts, because I would get so mad at them in the playoffs. I would go and like block all the team accounts as if that meant anything at all. But like,
as if they would see that or something and be like, "Oh, what the fuck? Will blocked me." Oh, yes. Okay, all right. Okay, we got to start getting a rebounding forward that we can hit some threes.
Yeah, just like so psychotically angry. And like, I mean, I'm just like this year, and like your original question, and then we spiraled off into this tangent, and I ruined 15 minutes from now in the podcast.
We're talking about Alan Crabb, I think.
Well, no, like trades, like the Raptors making any moves. I'm like, unless there is some crazy fleecing to be done, or like, I don't mind minor tweaks kind of further down at the end of the bench. Like if they think they can flip Hollis Jefferson, well, I guess he's only on 1 year, but like he's a guy who I think really has emerged and has like that guy's going to be making 5 times as much money next season as he is this season.
He's really the Bam Adebayo of this year.
Yeah, he's the 8th.
Oh, sorry, the Bismack Biyombo. Sorry, I was looking.
Right. Yeah. He's for sure like the 8th guy. Like we have the 3 set solid guys off the bench, and he's like the 8th one. But like other than that, I'm like, no, man, run it back. Like I was talking to a guy a cashier in a grocery store today because I had the hat on, and he asked me if he's like, oh, you think you guys are going to make any trades? And I was like, no, I just don't think the opportunity will be there to significantly upgrade. I don't think any team with a high lottery pick is going to trade it for like, guys on the other side of 30, like Gasol or Lowry or Ibaka. So it's like, just run it. Like if I was a Dallas fan, I would have felt so robbed of the follow-up season to the championship. Like letting Tyson Chandler go, and also, how long were they in the, like it, in retrospect, clearly was a huge mistake that they did that instead of just trying to run it back to see what, like, who knows what had happened. It's like, I have such positive feelings about this team. I just want one more season for like a proper come down. It's like,
wait, who let Tyson Chandler go? You talking about the Mavericks?
Yeah, the Mavericks let him go
when they won, right? Yeah. Can I just say, the image of you, the image of like a clerk at a grocery store trying to make chit chat about sports with you, and then you like holding up the line to give a dissertation on how wrong-headed it is to think the Raptors need to make a trade while he just shakes his head and scans your beans and whatnot. That's really satisfying to me.
It was whole wheat flour and butter. Thank you very much.
You didn't buy beans today?
No, we have so many cans of beans in the cupboard. It's insane. Okay. I don't know where they all came from.
You did buy beans at some point.
Okay, no more bean talk, no more dough talk.
No, I want to hear what Matt thinks about beans.
Yeah, I think all the beans came from when my wife and I moved in together, and she had a bunch in her cupboard.
Okay, well, we solved that mystery.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you guys are like legitimately worried about for the Raptors, or is it kind of just like, hey, we're just skating this season, this is our, this is our celebratory season where we've been winning for 7 years and everything's great?
No, I don't think so. I think that my biggest concern is that we're going to trade somebody I love in order to try to get better. But I don't doubt that Masai and Bobby are going to do some, like, they're not going to do anything. Look at all of the trades that they make, especially the in-season ones. They're all out of nowhere. They're completely counter to any hype and speculation that's been coming, I guess, except for the Gasol reports that were trickling in, but that deal was dead in the water. And then last minute, apparently Masai and Bobby pulled it off. But that would be the saddest thing. Like, all this talk about, like, I'm like protective of Powell, and even you mentioning Rondé. Like, I feel like Rondé's been a Raptor for 3 years already. Like, I don't think that's my biggest concern, is that somebody I love is going to get traded. But I will say that, if you're talking about the sort of relatively small minor trades that have been made already, I was watching Jeff Teague in that game today. I would not mind having Jeff Teague on our team for a second round pick, like, as the kind of point guard depth that can spell Fred and Kyle if they need a blow, and you don't have to rely on Davis and Powell to pick up that slack. That would be a perfect bench guy to strengthen for a playoff run, I think.
Is Teague's on the Wolves?
No, he got traded to the Hawks. Like,
spoiler alert till 5 minutes from now when we move to the NBA segment. But Teague is the biggest name in all the trades.
Yeah. I was going to say that has to be the biggest name in all the trades
by far. Yeah, I think I don't think we need another guard specifically because Terrence Davis is so good, and I wanted to see him get some kind of like opportunity and minutes in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because he could be a big moment guy. But I think a guy like Robert Covington or someone who's just a really good 3-and-D that you could throw out with OG and Pascal and basically just almost like imagine if Rondé could shoot. You know what I mean?
He's going to be so expensive though, isn't he? Isn't he on like a decent deal and still really young? Like the ceiling's not reached for Covington. Like that's going to be that's why I thought Teague would be a nice rotation piece. That's like a veteran who might, if Davis does lose it and Fred rolls an ankle, we have that option.
Yeah, I
think Covington is a classic. Like I think he's a classic guy who's about to get like over, like just like classic example of one of those like really good wing guys where it's like, man, but his next contract, at best case scenario with his next contract is he's going to be worth what he's making.
Guys, check this out. Covington this year is making 11 mil.
Yeah.
Next year he's making 12 mil, and the next year after that he's making 13 mil.
Is there a player option on the third season?
Doesn't look like it. I think he signed a bad deal for this era. Basically.
Yeah, it doesn't. All right, then I was wrong. I was like Ennis. I thought he was up in a year or two.
No, he'd be a guy you'd bring on for, he's like basically getting paid what Norm's getting paid. So he's
almost as good.
He's a nice cheap contract.
He's almost as good a value as Norm.
Yeah, I mean this Norm thing is not sustainable. Like,
I disagree.
I do think he's going to be a lot better, but like, what is he? Since he got back, he's shooting like 60% from three. Like, and it's just like. Yeah.
He's on a heater, but he is 25 and kind of coming into his own, I think. But I still think he's not like 17 points like Klay Thompson like shooting. I think it's going to simmer down just a bit, personally.
I mean, he's not going to shoot 60% from three, but I think we're watching something that has been a long time coming and like was part of why they signed him to that deal in the first. Like, remember when that deal was like, oh God, what did we do? What did they do? And now it's like a huge steal for him to cost that much.
That was last season when everybody was saying, what are they going to do? That was like 10 months ago.
Guys, Norm is shooting
but then he had a great,
5 threes a game at 40%.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's been like ridiculous. Like he was on I think he was on a bit of a tear before he got hurt too.
He was. I have him on my fantasy team on ESPN. He's incredible.
Yeah, thank you for telling us what fantasy league.
I'm buzz marketing.
Thanks for specifying, not Yahoo, ESPN.
No, not Yahoo.
You're an ESPN guy? Oh my God.
I'm in a CBS and ESPN and a Yahoo.
Wow, that's so much logging in.
I'm not really working right now.
Hey, that's okay. It's okay. Okay, let's do some NBA. How does that sound for you, fellas?
Is there a sting?
Is there a sting? Of course, there's a sting.
Oh shit!
Okay, cool.
That was really nice.
Yeah, that was nice, right? It was a good, nice feeling sting. Like, nice.
Wait, okay. So this clarifies. So when there is Matt over the sting, that's Matt doing that live. That's not a part of the sting always, because I heard no Matt during that sting.
No Matt. Oh, I don't know. That's probably just his complex sound Foley in the queue.
Last year, I swear, I'm like calling back to previous episodes. I swear to God, the last few episodes, the Stings had Matt talking over them.
Yeah, sometimes I do, because I'm playing them live, and I laugh at them.
Yeah, I didn't know if they were like pre-recorded or if it was like, or if you were feeling like extra spicy on the record day.
and I just keep reusing that with me like laughing over something stupid. Like,
or like,
I'm a professional.
Look, we don't need to recap the whole episode, but
are you also making dough, Matt, or sauce maybe to go with the dough?
I am not, guys. Sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Let's break down these blockbuster trades.
Yeah.
And Ennis, I'll go to you first.
Hit me.
But let me read these trades with these big names, and you can tell me which trade, basically who won out of these 6 teams. Okay, you ready? Yeah. So Blazers trade Kent Bazemore to the Kings in a multiplayer deal. Portland Trailblazers get Trevor Ariza, Wenyen Gabriel, Caleb Swanigan, Sacramento Kings get Kent Bazemore, Anthony Tolliver, 2 second-round picks. Okay? Second trade is Hawks acquiring Teague from Timberwolves for Crabbe. So Atlanta gets Teague and Travion Graham. Okay. Minnesota Timberwolves get Crabbe. And the last one here is probably the most exciting. It's the Jazz get Jordan Clarkson from Cleveland for Dante Exum. So Jazz get Jordan Clarkson, Cleveland gets Dante Exum, and 2 second-round picks, one from Spurs, one from the Warriors.
The Cavs got picks back with that?
The Cavs got 2 picks. Yeah, they got a Spurs pick, Spurs second round in 2022, and a Warriors second round in 2023.
You know, they did used to say that Exum was going to be the new Kobe before he got drafted. Do you remember that?
Well, he's in Cleveland now, you know.
That was the buzz. Yeah, just like Kobe, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
I think the Ariza move. I'm rooting for Portland, and I want them to get better. Like, I want them to make the playoffs because of how good Dame and CJ are, and how just amazing, and just how even with the playoff run last year, like how underestimated kind of to this day in terms of like national profile Dame Lillard is. So anything that helps that team. But if they're looking for, I don't know. Yeah, I guess they're trying to because they lost a bunch of D in Alaminu and Harkless leaving, right, and not paying those guys. So I think that's actually a good pickup for them.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, they got 3 forwards. Yeah. Trevor Ariza, let's see what he can do. He looks kind of done. Wenyan Gabriel and Caleb Swanigan. So 2 young guys. I mean, I think they're probably looking at like Melo, and they're, perhaps terrified.
Yeah, is Ariza more washed than I would have?
I mean, he didn't do much in the past little while. Like, he played for Phoenix, he played for Washington, he played for the Kings. Yeah. His last kind of relevant spot was playing for that incredible Rockets team that almost beat the Warriors.
Right. Yeah, he was a part of their like defensive wing platoon, right?
Yes. Yeah. Him, Mbamute, and PJ Tucker.
Oh yeah, Mbamute.
Yeah. And they lost all those guys.
Trevor Ariza is like, it's funny that Ariza and Bazemore have both been traded, because I feel like Bazemore is just Ariza all over again, but like 3 or 4 seasons behind him. Because like both of those guys showed that they could like shoot some threes and play incredible defense. And some GM went like nuts and gave them so much money. And then 4 months later, they were just like, oh, fucking God damn it. Like, both of those guys were for a brief period of time so hyped. Like, I remember people talking about Bazemore, about how much money he was going to get and how great he was going to be. And like, what the hell has Ken Bazemore ever done?
Was that when he was on Golden State and he was going off, or was that on...
I think he was on the Hawks, wasn't he?
Yeah, when he was kind of got famous, I guess, as his celebrating from the bench guy. He was also, it's also kind of tied to him being the first player to sign with Under Armour, or like the first notable player, but then also as a Hawk.
Does Under Armour make deodorant?
I don't know.
Because it or antiperspirant, it has aluminum. That's a kind of armor.
Oh my God!
Right, Will?
Nice.
Will, do you have anything to say about that?
I mean, aluminum is not a kind of armor. It is a metal.
Yeah, which you would use in armor.
Yes. Well, that's like saying a carrot is a kind of soup. No, you can put carrots in soup. But that does not mean that a carrot is a kind of soup.
I would argue that a carrot is a kind of soup.
Yeah, there's carrot soup.
Let's move this on. Let's move this conversation to our other podcast, What's an Ingredient?
That would be a very listenable podcast. Wait, do we even pick a favorite of these loser trades?
I think the Teague move, because I wish he was a Raptor. I'm going to say that.
I'm going to say curious. I think the Cavaliers won by getting rid of Clarkson.
Ooh,
because if you have Darius Garland, and if you have who's their other young guy?
Sexton.
Sexton.
And Porter.
You're trying to clear room for those guys.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, let's get Clarkson the hell out of here, and then maybe Dante Exum can prove him that he belongs in the NBA or not.
Yeah, I mean, they also got picks out of that, so anything the Cavs do to get picks is a good move. I'm rooting for that. I like the Cavs as they are. I'm hoping I never thought they should have re-signed Love in the first place, but I guess that was an asset thing, like with Blake on the Clippers, and hopefully they get something good for
I don't know. It seems like a lot of people are stuck with those kind of those like signing somebody to like what Jimmy just got, right? Which is kind of like signing someone to a max when they're 31 is appearing to be an absolutely deadly mistake.
It's a very Major League Baseball kind of a move.
Yeah, because Jimmy is not even putting up like crazy stats this year.
What's interesting is
he's playing a part of a good team, obviously, but imagine Jimmy in 2 years. It's gonna be probably pretty rough.
Clarkson only makes $13 million this year, and then he's a free agent. So I think actually Utah, that's the best upgrade that a team has made in a trade so far that has playoff aspirations, I think, because he's been like just shooting lights out there and doesn't have to do too much because they have all these other guys.
Yeah, and Exum is still such a fringe guy.
Yeah.
Wait, was it Teague? Was it Teague for Crabbe straight up?
No, so that trade was Teague and Travion Graham for Crabbe.
Yeah, and
okay.
So T-Wolves get
because Crabbe makes so much money, right?
Travion Graham. Oh, sorry. The Hawks get Teague and Travion Graham.
Doesn't Crabbe make an insane amount of money?
Yes, he's on I can look up his contract right now, but he's pretty like outsized contract.
I'm curious what that feels like a trade that is preparation for another trade.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, wow, what was Minnesota thinking? Like, what is the thought plan there? So, like, I'm curious as to what that trade is a trade for.
It seems like both Minnesota and Sacramento are kind of like clearing way to make more deals. Like, I guess you could say the same of the Cavaliers, but
what's weird though?
Or the Blazers, maybe.
Crabbe and Teague make the same amount of money, and they're both free agents after this season, so it makes less sense to me now.
Yeah, I was looking that up kind of like as we were just talking right now, and I just saw that as you were saying that, and
that's weird.
Yeah, I don't get it. Maybe it's just positional.
Cares. Yeah, I guess they want to give Jared Culver a longer look, and Crabbe barely plays anyway.
Okay, I feel like we've given these unworthy of trade talk.
No. Let's talk about Caleb Slater.
I think we should dedicate this whole episode to the incredibly intriguing trade saga of the NBA in 2019 and 2020.
That would be a great concept for a podcast that only looked at NBA transactions and like had to treat them with the intensity and gravitas that you treat like the deadline day wrap-up podcast.
Well, those are always the most fun. Those are the most fun trade deadlines to watch on like ESPN, because it's like guys just desperately trying to find something to say about, like, I don't know, one guy named Collins being traded for another guy named Collins.
Kai Bowman, finally, they convert his two-way contract. Nothing. Chris is waived.
Nothing will ever trump the Dylan Brooks, whose Brooks is actually getting traded.
Oh, my God.
Scandal. Oh, yeah. That happened last year because both teams denied it. Every commentator also had to admit that they didn't really know which Brooks they were talking about. It was
John Hollinger was on Zach Lowe. Did you hear him talking about that?
Yeah, it was great.
It's so bizarre. Like, what a crazy. That's something that should only happen in a fantasy pool league for children.
Well, the Raptors also had a trade one time where we didn't get Matt Barnes because of math. Someone did basically a numbers guy made a mistake.
Not that they thought his name was Math?
No, that'd be pretty cool.
God. It wasn't the math. It was that they didn't look at the CBA close enough. So they thought it had like something to do with bird rights or like something like that. But essentially, the contract they were going to sign him for was illegal.
Yes,
because he was coming off. It was either like he was coming off of a 1-year contract, or or it was like, I think it honestly might have been a thing where they like traded the rights to sign him to the Raptors, and the Raptors then tried to use bird rights to sign him, but then the league was like, you don't have bird rights in this situation. And then Matt Barnes was just like, see ya, I'm going to the Lakers.
I think the Rockets actually got in trouble for a Nene like maneuvering this year. They tried to do something with Nene's contract that the NBA was like, we see what you're trying to do and we don't like it.
And that's a no-no.
There was one year where I'm pretty sure a trade didn't happen because they like sent the fax in to like somebody just forgot to send the fax in and they ended up doing it.
Can you imagine being that guy?
Oh God, you're so fired.
And I'll just put this fax in. Oh, sure, I'll take a coffee. That actually would be me. Like the fact that I just physicalized that scenario in my own office means that would for sure be me.
Hey, fun fact, we bring up Tyson Chandler. I was listening to Jose Calderon being interviewed on Howard Beck's podcast.
Okay.
And he was talking about he was in the trade.
When I play defense, I clap.
Oh, man, he's the greatest. He got traded to the Knicks in the deal that brought Chandler to the Mavericks when they won the championship, when they went to the championship. And the crazy thing that's making me think of, like, deals that never happened, do you remember, like, maybe 3 years before that, there was a deal that was Chandler and Dia for Calderon and Reggie Evans that
Michael
was
Jordan
pulling off, and
Michael
it got
Jordan
like
turned it
leaked to
down.
the press in like early, whenever Twitter could catch fire and report something before it actually happened, and the backlash was so strong that like they pulled the trade. Like the rejection, the what is Jordan doing was so loud that they ended up like rescinding the trade and not putting it through.
Yeah, they like went back on their word, essentially.
Yeah.
It was like a whole big thing where everybody was like, well, why the hell would anyone ever trust the Bobcats again? And like, you know, it turned out that nobody trusted the Bobcats to begin with.
Yeah, right. But that is crazy that he was traded for Chandler twice and once didn't take. And
yeah, Jordan and Vlade Divac are both the ex-players who are like, your basketball business know-how is just pretty rough, guys. Like clearly you're good business people like in life or whatever, but your decision making when it comes to your own basketball scenario is pretty heinous.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Jordan to have to like trade his best player for like a second round pick and future considerations because he like made that bet on the golf course or something.
Yeah.
You think that's why he had to let Kemba go? That's why they couldn't offer Kemba a max because he had to. It was like that was the vig.
Yeah, they were like. Sorry, I was trying to think of a joke about killing Michael Jordan's father again, but just nothing came to me.
Yeah, I think that's probably for the best. With Jesus Christ.
Yeah, me too. But you know what?
I'm the only one familiar with that conspiracy theory.
No. We just don't need to talk about it now, Will.
Let me just say this.
Save that for our other podcast, Conspiracies and Ingredients.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's a pretty good podcast too. But you know, if you don't know that conspiracy, go ahead, have a look. We'll leave it there. But speaking of just like bad management and bad teams, Will, I'm going to go to you first. Which team that's currently below 500 record-wise has the best outlook in the NBA?
The best?
Yeah, so which like sub 500 team right now has the best like future kind of like beyond this season?
I'm going to go with I'm going to say Memphis because they clearly have like, you know, obviously Zion is in play, but like, you know, rookie of the year seems to be all like wrapped up. And I also just think that like there are a lot of young players on that team that are good.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Memphis's ownership is like a little bit dicey, but they're just not a team where I'm like, the front office is also extremely incompetent.
How are they dicey? I don't know anything about that.
I think the ownership, I think there was like a bit of an ownership battle, or it's also like ownership loves to, you know, what do they have? Like 3 different coaches in 3 years, and each of those coaches had like a very winning record. Like ownership just really liked to get into conflict with the coaches, and it was like ownership and the GM, and it's just like a team that for a few seasons it was like the front office was extremely not going smoothly.
Right.
So at this point, like they've probably all kind of like now they're all on the same page, and it also is a team with like a lot of, you know, Jaren Jackson is good, and Ja Morant is like great. So it's just, and also what are they? They're like in 8th, aren't they right now?
Yeah, they're in 8th, and they're only 2 games under 500. They won 7 in a row.
I think Memphis is a
cheated.
fantastic pick. No. Memphis is really good. They've just come on recently. Like, you know, if this was earlier in the season, you could have said Phoenix or whatever. But Memphis is kind of like my number 2 for this question. My number 1's Orlando, and I just think that their development. Well, I feel like they have a lot of good players, and just there's no positional clicking yet. But I believe in Fultz, and I like Gordon, and I like Jonathan Isaac, and I like a lot of what their team has done in the past like 2 years. Not so much like the Mo Bambas and the like, you know, the like Vucevic, but I think that team is not that far away from being like a good, solid team.
Oh, I strongly disagree.
Okay, who's your team, Ennis?
I mean, I think I got two picks. I'll go 1A and 1B. I think the Hawks are on the right track, and I think there's like no pressure for them to build. But
see, I wanted to say the Hawks, but then I looked at 10-34.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, good God.
They not only have had, like, they lost John Collins, their second best player, for 25 games this year. You know what I mean? Sure. That's not nothing. And they've had injuries to a bunch of other guys, and they have, it's all rookies. Like, they got Hunter and Reddish. They got all these guys to acclimate behind Trae Young, and he's still new, and they're doing something different because he's so tiny and fast. But I think the sky's the limit over there. And the other thing, and I can't wait to hear what they say about this in the group. The Golden State Warriors, I think, are the best on sub 500 team right now, because
I think that's probably the correct answer.
They're going to get a lottery pick, and they're going to trade D'Angelo Russell for God knows what, Ben Simmons or something, and then roll out those two players plus Green, Clay, and Curry next year, and probably win 60 games again.
Ennis, you're 100% right, but I'm also mad at you for that answer.
Oh, I'm mad too. You think I like it?
Okay, last question here before we hit up some quickish questions. Let's just kind of throw some names out. Who should be in the dunk-off?
Norm Powell.
Really, Norm? You think he can get up enough? I was going to say maybe Davis.
He skies in very unexpected ways during the games. I bet he's got some nice dunks that he's practiced. Which, Anthony Davis or Terrence?
Terrence.
Yeah, I liked that dunk he had from McCaw today was bonkers. He got up so high.
And has Jones Jr. from Miami been in the dunk-off yet?
I don't know, but he definitely should be.
Yeah, because I looked like he wasn't in last year's dunk-off. So I was kind of looking through, and yeah, last year was Hamidou Diallo, and
he was in the 2017 apparently.
Oh, Jones Jr.? Yeah. Okay, yeah. He seems
was
like
on Phoenix.
He just jumps way, way too high to not be in the dunk-off.
Yeah.
I mean, Ja Morant, I think is obviously a good candidate, but he's already said he might not do it.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you're thinking of, Will?
Yeah, I think that should be Zion Williamson's big return, or like the first game in the NBA should be the dunk contest.
He really should do it, like especially for missing the first little bit, like because apparently like Dwight's gonna do it. I don't want this to become like, oh my God, it's Dwight and it's
Howard?
Vince.
Yeah, Dwight Howard's coming.
You know what?
Back,
To that point though, I think there should be a veterans only like spin-off. I think that's the next thing. Like you go old school with it.
I want to see Bill Russell in the dunk contest.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Honestly, what about just a layup contest? Like who can do the most wild layup?
You're going to get beaten up for proposing that idea.
Yeah, for sure.
That's you getting fired from your NBA media job after getting fired for not sending the fax to trade for Matt Barnes.
Yeah. What if instead of keeping score, everybody just went out there and had fun?
I mean, like wild layups, though. I'm talking like, when DeRozan gets fouled and he would do that, like throw the ball into the sky, and then it would.
Yeah, but there's got to be a guy there there's got to be a guy there to like foul. Like cool layups are cool because of the way they like twist and turn to get out of the way and like avoid contact or like still get the ball to the rim. It's like, what cool layup are you doing completely unchallenged at the rim?
That's
behind the back.
What about Donovan Mitchell?
I'm just trying to answer the question logically.
No, I've already given up on my own crappy idea.
I actually think the guys who have been in the league 10 plus years have their own separate dunk contest.
That could be pretty fun.
Yeah,
like, there is a lot of old dunkers like JaVale.
Yeah, everything old is JaVale's a beast still. Come on.
Maybe Tristan Thompson, just like a putback dunk.
Yeah, right. Just a very fundamental. Yeah, doesn't reach the ground, just jumps up, puts it back in one motion. More costumes? More John.
Is there like a little dunker these days? There's no like Nate Robinson, is there?
I hate the little dunkers.
I'm not crazy about little dunkers either because they get overly awarded.
Right now it sounds like we're insulting Matt's children right now.
Or the Raptors, the kids.
Little dunkers. Sorry, it took me a while to understand that joke. Ennis, go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, that's really good, Will. I didn't get that either. The little dunkers. That's really good stuff.
Jesus Christ.
But I think they should have nets that move constantly. like they do in those, like in midway games where the free throw shot thing is moving back and forth. It should be like that. It should go up and down. I mean, someone's going to get wildly injured doing that probably. So maybe
we're talking some slam ball compound fracture.
I want more of where the net is a variable they can't control.
Okay,
what was the injury rate in slam ball?
I think it was 100%.
It seems bad to be jumping on trampolines that much.
No, I always say. I mean, anyone who's listened to this podcast for a long time knows that I know very well what happened, which is basically it was a free for all for a year, and everyone was dunking like crazy. It was awesome, but then guys started figuring out how to play D. So they timed the block, and basically you'd have a midair collision, like 30 feet in the air, and they would both fall they would both get. Basically, if a guy ever blocked a shot, you knew that both people were going to get severely hurt.
And was it like one giant trampoline or a bunch pushed together?
No, it was a bunch of
they have metal bars, right? Like it's so dangerous. It's like it would be dangerous even if it was just trampolines.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
If the game was entirely devoted to just jumping around trampolines, you're getting like 20% of the people injured.
Yeah, it's just like it also just seems like it's so bad for your joints too, to just be like compressing your body like that over and over again.
Bring it back, and if you don't complete the dunk, the rim's actually like a little bit of a taser. And it just like shocks the person's hands.
Yeah, I think they should have guards armed with beanbag, like riot gear, armed with beanbag shots. Then they are actively firing at anyone trying to dunk.
And also sound cannons for anyone who's on the ground. So it's like you really want to get out of the way of both those things. So keep moving, you know.
Wait, what the hell?
Also, the arena is on fire.
Oh, inside or outside?
I don't know, both.
Like the perimeter?
Yeah, sure, everything.
All right.
Okay. Ennis, Google a sound cannon. You'll have some fun. But let's do some quickish questions. You guys want to do some quickish questions or what?
Love to.
Maddie, would you give me that quickish question sting?
Quickish question.
Gotta make them quick.
Wait, was that Matt saying no math? Okay, no time to spare. Here we go.
I was trying to add some lyrics.
No, that's pretty sick. Okay, you guys know the rules. No phone a friend, etc. Okay.
No phone a friend. Every single time that drives me nuts.
Matt loves it.
We're on our phones. How would we do that?
Right?
You'd be hearing the phone call.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
You are making like Survey Says jokes or something. Like,
hey,
no, it's
Family
not
Feud
because,
is just as good today.
You know what? Actually, Family Feud is more relevant than Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Will, if you don't get it, just figure it out. Ask Jeeves, and we'll talk.
If I don't get it.
Okay, so you can ask Jeeves, so he doesn't count as a friend.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, no asking Jeeves either. Okay.
Yeah, no, Jeeves, it's a professional relationship, so that's fine.
I'm just going to go to askjeeves.com and see if it exists. You guys go ahead.
Go to askjeeves.com and ask if it's still around.
Yeah. Apparently it's just called Ask now for anybody who wanted to know.
Okay, the music's been playing for 45 minutes. Here we go. Will, this is coming from Jonathan. What's the percentage likelihood that Pat McCaw knows some wicked guitar riffs and is teaching them to coach Nurse in exchange for minutes?
Gotta make it quick.
0% because I just don't think he's too young to know any tasty licks that Nick Nurse doesn't know.
Okay. Ennis.
Gotta make it quick.
It's coming from Jonathan. We've definitely moved beyond the point of...
Who's it coming from?
It's coming from Jonathan.
Wait, didn't I also get Jonathan?
That's right.
Is it Jonathan Yam?
That's right.
Basketball fan Jonathan Yam?
We've definitely moved beyond the point of trade Lowry. Are we past the point of trade Norm yet?
I said this an hour ago, Jonathan, if you were listening. We absolutely are done. I don't want to hear any more trade Norm. I don't want to hear any more flip him in a second-round pick for Kyle Kuzma, yada, 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 get Covington in here. No. Norm is the present and the future, and I predict the 6th Man of the Year award in his hands in a Raptors uniform in the next 3 years.
Amarillo Lagasse.
Yeah, Jonathan, shut the fuck up. How does that sound?
Yeah, Jonathan Ennis is your friend.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Will said what I can't. He's my proxy.
Matt, this is coming from Tom.
Yeah.
Who is most likely to make an all-star game in their career? Terrence Davis, Norm Powell, or OG?
Ooh.
You know what? I'm going to go with OG.
Yes.
Okay, Will.
Yeah.
It's coming from Tristan.
Wait, we don't get to hear the thinking behind Matt's answer?
Oh, sorry, Matt.
I think that with OG, you ain't seen nothing yet. Baby, you ain't seen nothing.
Hey, you deserve that,
I'd like to
Will.
rescind my request for more information from Matt.
If you ask Matt what he's thinking, it's a rad tune, okay?
Oh, man.
Will, you have this is from Tristan. You have a career high scoring game. Instead of water, what do you want your teammates to pour on you after?
Wait, they pour water on you?
Yeah, it's not like football. They have Gatorade cups full of water. It's weird.
What do I want? I want them to pour the blood of my enemies all over me.
I like
my
that.
God.
I
Like
want
the
them to
other
pour
team?
I want them to pour the blood of my primary defender from the other team all over me,
That's good. That's a good answer.
so that I can absorb their strength fully.
Okay, Ennis,
Oh, hold on. I'm still taking in what Will said.
take it in.
How to move on with my life. Okay, go ahead.
It's coming from Tristan.
Oh, I love Tristan.
You're getting your first signature shoe.
Yeah.
What will it be called?
The rolled ankle. The rolled ankle high.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
What about the Esmerizer? Like mesmerizer?
I'll take care of naming my own shoes. Okay?
Honestly, Will named your shoe way better than you, dude.
No, man, you gotta go.
So guess what? Now it's my shoe.
Mesmerizer's not gonna make any sense. I would say the missed layup low or something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay,
No,
Matt.
it's got to be the Esmerizer, but it's like in quotation marks because it's sarcastic.
Oh, and it's designed by Virgil Abloh as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, guys, I'm making high fashion references here.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, and I don't want to.
Off-white, it does everything with the air quotes. It'll say Esmerizer on it.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Okay, Matt.
I like it. We're
Matt,
going off-white shopping.
Guys,
though.
guys. Matt, this comes from Tristan. You're
Tristan.
writing a Players Tribune piece on your NBA career. What's the title?
On my NBA career?
That's right.
Oh, I can't even imagine myself being good. The first thing that came to my mind was my view from the bench.
Ouch.
But that could be good, right? I could be coming off the bench.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, what's the article about? Is it like you no
It's not
longer
nice.
on the bench?
I'm just like talking about what I see, I guess, from sitting there every game and not playing.
Yeah, that's not unlike Paul Shirley's memoir, which was called like "Can I Keep My Jersey?" or "Can I Keep the Jersey?" I think is what it was called.
Wasn't there one called "Don't Put Me In, Coach"? Who wrote that?
Wow, a lot of sad. I guess whatever. Not everyone's a star. Will come from Jonathan.
Was the thinking behind Matt's answer one way or another? I'm going to call it views from the bench. It was another. Oh my God! He just asked the damn question.
Okay, here we go. If they change the All-Star Game format to Team USA versus Team World, who would win?
Team USA. Wait. Team USA. No, hold on. Team USA.
Oh, he's doing a bit.
No, I think he was thinking about it.
Yeah, the first time I was thinking about it, and then I was embarrassed that I kept the same answer after reconsidering. So then I turned it into a bit.
Yeah, after Doncic, Giannis, and Siakam, it gets a little bit less good.
Embiid?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess if Embiid was healthy.
The Gasol brothers?
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander? Tristan Thompson? Andrew Wiggins?
Yeah, God, it is a weird time for international basketball right now. We're like the next wave of like foreign stars are only beginning to emerge.
But don't discount on. There's so many Canadians that are in the NBA now that could make a dent.
Team captain Andrew Wiggins,
right? I give it to Shea. He's already the best Canadian in the NBA right now.
Okay, Ennis, I got one for you.
Okay,
come from James.
I don't know who that is.
What's the meanest thing Marc Gasol has ever done?
Not offered you any wine before chugging it. How's that?
That's pretty good, Matt.
Or looked you off a pass. Imagine
that would actually be legit bad for Gasol.
Wouldn't you be so confused? You'd be like, what did I do? Why he won't pass to me? What did I do?
Yeah, if Gasol didn't pass to you, like, he's probably going to try and kill you that night.
Oh, dear.
Okay, a couple more questions. Matt, it's come from James. Regardless of your body type,
hello, James.
What position do you most identify with?
Which position? Okay, and this has nothing to do with my body type or the fact that I'm under 6 feet tall, but I think it would be point guard because I like to be a supportive team player. I like to get those assists. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think I know what you mean.
I'm here for the assists.
I thought it was going to be like, well, this is not just influenced because I am under 6 feet, but the position I most identify with is towel boy.
Oh, boy. Just picking on me all night, Will.
I am so sorry about this, Matt. This is not okay.
No, this is what we get for bringing on Will 2 weeks in a row. Yeah. Like, he's just coming out swinging. But anyways, Will, this is for you.
I'm also under 6 feet. This was not a general jibe at Matt. This was, I think, me and
5'11".
Yeah, I'm slightly above 6 foot, so
I'm as tall as Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I'm the like perfect average height for men.
I'm way yes, so 5'9".
I'm 5'11".
A little lower. Okay, that was good. Okay, three more questions, guys.
Average height, which is a little lower than average.
Guys, I believe in us. We can do this. Will, it's coming from Matt. Why did the Raptors? From Matt McCready.
Okay.
Why did the Raptors win by 28 points? This was the previous game. And can you believe the 4 blocks by Matt, the Hitman Thomas?
I did not. Yes, I can believe the 28. The 4 blocks, I genuinely did not know about, and I don't know what to say about it because I am like aghast and like if like multiples of those were on the same player, then I find that to be as humiliating as that time I think Charlie Ward blocked Yao Ming.
Oh my
Which
god!
game
I remember
this?
that. That's a famous block.
Yeah.
Which game was this against Minnesota?
Yes, I think.
Oh my god!
4 block. Like in what?
He must have just got it all in garbage time.
What could it? But what even was like this situation where like Matt Thomas is in a position to be like stuffing people?
Maybe there's someone on the other team who thought they were taking a free throw. Because I don't know how Matt Thomas would block anybody.
Yeah, like how often do threes get blocked? And I imagine he's not playing a lot of defense closer than like 22 feet out.
I hope every highlight is like DeAndre Jordan trying to like cram it, and he's just like getting denied by Matt Thomas.
Wait a second, when was this game?
Sorry, I said DeAndre Jordan, but I meant to like Towns or like whoever their big was.
It was like 3 or 4. It was 2 or 3 days ago.
Yes.
It was?
Yeah.
He has no blocks in the last 5 games, according to ESPN.
I'm starting to think that perhaps Matt tricked us all and made up this question.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it at all. He has no blocks all year, according to this.
Okay, that is actually way more believable.
Yeah, he doesn't have
Matt.
a single block all year. Nicely done. He also played 5 minutes in the Washington game. We won by 30-29. So,
Matt, cheers to you. Honestly,
great work.
Okay, Ennis.
Okay,
this is coming from Josh.
Okay, Josh.
Who is the biggest midseason disappointment, player and team?
Player and team. I don't like to disparage players like that. You know, that's tough.
Sure.
I mean, I guess, you know, it would have been great if Zion was back by now and we'd gotten to see all those nationally televised games with all the marquee matchups. So his circumstances are disappointing. Also, I think the whole thing of like the front office not getting his conditioning right, like as soon as he gets injured, the whole league is like, you can't be that height and weigh 280 pounds. Where was that in the 3 months between the draft and the beginning of the season? So that's disappointing. You know what I mean? In terms of team management. You want to talk about the way organizations are run. As for the most disappointing team, I mean, I'm going to go with the Knicks, because imagine if they had done what they're just disappointing in general. What's more disappointing than the Knicks?
Yeah, the Knicks might be the most disappointing thing in the world.
Yeah.
At this point.
I always say that. I always say if you're ever, it's like if you want to like, navigate like in the desert, find the North Star, and if you want to feel good, just think about the Knicks.
But even like if you look at just the whole run of like, not only are they 11-32, but they fired Fizdale. They didn't give him a chance. There's all this weird shit where like the GM comes out and holds a press conference. They released. There's quotes recently where they're like, we're looking for rotation players if we're going to make trades, which proves they don't even get what the hell you do when you're a tanking team and it's not working.
That's bad, yeah.
It's just them and all the Masai talk, which is so delusional. It sounds like fan fiction at this point.
Okay, Matt's playing the quickest question sting again. We're on the last question, but everyone gets a little turn here. We're going to do some... Ian Gordon wants us to do some rapid-fire mid-season awards. So, Matt, who's the MVP at the mid-season mark?
Oh, that's an easy one. Giannis.
Okay, Will, who's the MIP at the mid-season mark?
Ooh, normally I would hate to give this to a second-year player, but like, I kind of feel like it's got to be Doncic.
Yes.
Like to go from like the best rookie to maybe the second best player in the league is genuine improvement, as opposed to just like, well, he's a year older than, he's 20 instead of 19.
Yeah, totally. Ennis.
You guys took the best ones. Go ahead.
Ennis, who's the best defensive player in the league halfway
Rudy
through the
Gobert.
season? Matt, who's the best rookie halfway through the year?
Is it Ja Morant?
Yes, of course it is.
Yeah.
Confidence.
Will, who's the best coach halfway through the year?
You know what?
This one's hard.
I'm gonna go with Frank Vogel.
What?
Because like, here's
I think
why.
that's
It's
fair.
like,
that's a hard job.
Yeah,
Dude,
no
LeBron-
awards for the Knicks.
LeBron is very prickly with his coaches. It's like he's coming in after really kind of like washing out hard or like people really thought he was going to turn Orlando around, but like he really kind of flopped there. And what was he also like the like third or like nobody wanted him and everybody thought he was just going to get fired 3 weeks in because Jason Kidd was just going to like stab him in the back literally at the first practice. Yeah. And it's like they're playing so well and they're working really well and like the team seems to like him and respect him. And so it's like, it would be him. And then I would say, I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to go with Nick Nurse, but like this is hard because I have not watched a lot of other teams this year. So like I'm going to default to Nick Nurse because I've seen a lot of Nurse and like he's had to do a lot of adjustments and work with a lot of problems.
This is not quickish.
It's not, but it's fun. Ennis, last one.
What?
Ish. As if there's a definition of ish.
Right? Ennis, who's the executive? Mid-season executive. It's the last question.
The mid-season executive of the year is Masai Ujiri, and tied with Bobby Webster. I mean, let's be honest. They keep getting guys. We have not missed a beat after losing the championship MVP. We were right in there. We're now half a game out of second place in the conference. We're a top 5 team in the league. And Terrence Davis, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, Matt Thomas, just reclamation projects, overlooked guys all over the place. Norm Powell finally coming up. The continued emergence of Fred VanVleet, who at least has to be in the conversation for most improved. They do it all.
Hell yes. Guys, that's the pod.
I had a nice time except for Will.
I had a nice time just in general with everyone. It was a bit chaotic at times, I'll say.
When?
But I had a laugh.
When was it chaotic?
When?
Never.
You give me one example.
Will, I'm going to give you the opportunity to plug first. I know you love plugging what you got going on, and the fact that people from Toronto can perhaps come check you out in LA. Like you like that, right?
Yeah, so I'd love to plug not being asked back on this podcast for at least a calendar year.
We're not doing it. We're having you back way sooner than that, baby.
No. No.
Are you just saying no?
No to everything. I refuse to plug. I won't do it.
I love it.
Oh yeah, I'd like to plug my Patreon where you get nothing in return, and I don't know how it works.
Oh, God.
Hey, our Patreon is absolutely sick. Okay, it's like stacked with cool shit.
Yeah, well, you get Flibber with Freddie, and
that's right. You get Flubber shoes with Freddie, and we'll give you some smelly stickers and everything. It's good time. Ennis,
smelly stickers.
What are you doing, Ennis? What are you doing in LA right now?
I'm just down here, just trying to make it in show business. That's my idea. I was told this is where you go when you're 41. When you're 41 and you're Turkish and you're a little overweight. So this is where the stars are born. And I just want to be a big star.
Yeah. Oh my God, are you okay?
Yeah. It's fun. It's great. What a worthwhile pursuit that isn't hollow and doesn't tear at your insides every second.
Okay, when Will talks like this, I laugh. All right?
I'm trying to fit in. I'm
scared.
I'm trying to fit in.
Well, guys, I don't know.
I didn't finish plugging yet.
Okay, sorry, go.
It's tough to coming off being like a series regular on a network show. I know I'd be extremely depressed if I were in that position.
See that? He flipped it on me. But yes, well, thanks for reminding me. I wasn't going to bring it up, but the final season of Blind Spot will be coming to NBC this summer and CTV for our Canadian fans. And you can see me possibly eating some of Will's, the fruits of his dough while we watch Sixers Raptors on Wednesday. Will, if you're interested, text me.
I love that. That all ended with you and yet again inviting Will.
Yeah, that's the podcast equivalent of proposing on the Jumbotron, is asking your friends to come watch a basketball game in 2 days.
And you notice he didn't say yes.
He didn't say yes at all. I did notice that, and I didn't bring it up.
We'll reveal the answer to that on the next time I'm on the pod. Right. In 3 years.
In what? Yeah.
And I'll be like, who the hell is Ennis?
Yeah, totally.
Oh. There it is.
Listen, Will didn't mean that. Ennis, Will, they love each other. If you're listening to this podcast, thank you so much. Me and Matt are basically gonna just like pull our hair out and jump through a flaming window, I think. No, I was just trying to be cool and descriptive, but this was a very fun podcast. And we had a lot of hot takes. It was good. Thanks,
you did
guys.
Sound cool. Thank you so much for having us on the show.
Thank you, guys.
What a treat.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
My phone is ringing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Is this the end credit music?
I don't know. I'm just like scared. It's a wall of noise.
It was the Freddie on the Fly theme, guys.
Phil Spector, famous for having a phone ringing over some music.